this is the problem that we're going to start with. And the first step is to simplify the problem out. So change it to addition if we have anything that we need to change and there's nothing in this problem. Remove parentheses is next, and we do have parentheses, so we can go ahead and take care of those. In order to remove these parentheses, we would take 86 times 1/2. 86 times 1/2 is 43. We always line the sign up and it stays the same, and then just rewrite what's left on the left side. Add like terms would be the next part of simplifying, and we don't have any like terms, so we get to move on to step 2. Step 2 says add the opposite, so we find the variable, and if something's being added, we add the opposite. Nothing's being added, so we get to skip those next 2 steps. Now we're on to step 4, multiply by the reciprocal. So again, find the variable. If something's being multiplied to it, then multiply both sides by the reciprocal. Well, we do have multiplication here. It is being multiplied by negative 8.6, so we have to multiply both sides by the reciprocal of negative 8.6, which would be 1 over negative 8.6. If we multiply it on this side, then we have to multiply it on this side, 1 over negative 8.6. In the fourth step, when we multiply, remember, if the coefficient, which is the number that's with the variable, is negative, the sign flips. The coefficient is negative 8.6, so in this case, the sign has to flip and point the other direction. When we multiply on the left side, the 2 negative 8.6 crosses out, and then we're left with t. On the right side, remember when you multiply fractions that you multiply the tops and divide by what's on the bottom. So 43 times 1 is 43, of course, and then we divide by the bottom. So 43 divided by negative 8.6 is 5. Make that negative 5. Now we have our answer. T is less than or equal to negative 5. So put a box around it. Once we have our answer for an inequality, we can graph it on a number line. So you need to draw out your number line if it's not already there. The most important number on this number line is going to be negative 5, so let's mark that. When you have a less than or equal to sign, the equal sign indicates that it's going to be a closed circle, so we fill it in because it can equal negative 5. And since it is pointing towards the t, that means that all the answers are less than negative 5, so we're going to draw the graph to the left and fill in our arrow. Let's move on to our next problem. 5x minus 7 is less than 3. So again, we start from the beginning. Step number 1 says simplify it out if it needs to be. So we would change it to addition. Well, this one has subtraction in it, so we do need to do that step. So we just write it out exactly as it is. And then we just go add up. You change the subtraction to a plus and change the number that follows. This makes it easier to solve. We don't have any parentheses, we don't have any like terms, so we get to move on to step 2. Add the opposite. So we find the variable and find if there's something being added to it. And in this case, we have negative 7 added to it. So the opposite of negative 7 is positive 7. To cancel that out, we add a positive 7. But if we add a positive 7 to this side, we have to add a positive 7 to the other side. The third step is to simplify. If you look at the left side of the equation, we have a plus 7 and a minus 7. So we can cancel those out, which is our goal. We're trying to get rid of everything around the variable so that we just have an x. So what's left on the left is 5x. Our sign is left. 3 plus 7 is 10. And since the coefficient is positive, we don't flip the sign, it stays the same. We are on to the fourth step, multiply by the reciprocal. So again, we find the variable and whatever's being multiplied to it, we multiply both sides by the reciprocal. So the reciprocal of 5 is 1 over 5. So we have to multiply it on this side and the other side. When I multiply this side by 1/5, the 5's cancel out and x is left. Our sign can be dropped down, and then 1/5 of 10 is 2. Put a box around it. The answer to this inequality can also be shown on a graph. We would first draw our number line, mark the most important number, which in this case is 2. There is no equal sign underneath of it, so we put an open circle. And the inequality points towards the x, so that means that the part that we graph is less than the 2, so it goes off to the left. Darken in the arrow to show it keeps going. What this indicates is that x can be any answer that is less than 2.